everyone, this is the first page of the Chapter 6 exam review for Algebra 1B. Getting back into quadratics, which is the chapter we just recently finished. This first one, expand and simplify, pretty straightforward. This is just FOIL. So this square means I'm going to write my parentheses out twice. So I'm going to say, just want to fix my angle there. That would be negative 3x minus 2 times negative 3x minus 2. Now we call this FOIL just because that's an acronym that sort of helps us keep track of what we've already multiplied and what needs to be multiplied. But really what all this is the distributive property. So I would distribute this negative 3x here and here. Negative 3x times negative 3x. Now this is where you have to be careful. Negative 3 times negative 3 is positive 9. X times x is x squared. And then negative 3 times negative 2 gives me positive 6. And this one just has an x, so it would be 6x. Now that I've distributed that negative 3, I'm going to distribute the negative 2. Negative 2 times negative 3 is positive 6. And negative 2 times negative 2 is positive 4. Okay, now the only thing left to do is put these two middle ones together, and I end up with 9x squared plus 12x plus 4, and that's my final answer. Okay, the next one, really similar, except I've got this number sitting out front here, and this is a question we've dealt with all the way through Chapter 6 is, do I do that 2 first and then square, or do I square and then do the 2? Well, think about order of operations. This here is multiplication, and this is an exponent. And by PEMDAS, by order of operations, the squaring needs to come first. So I'm going to leave the 2 alone for a minute, and I'm going to go ahead and square my parentheses, x plus 3, x plus 3. Now at this point, this is all multiplication. So you could, if you wanted to, distribute the 2 in here, but you would only want to do it in the first parenthesis. Instead of getting confused by that, I usually just do the FOIL part first. I just do this first. So 2 parentheses, and then x times x gives me x squared. X times 3 gives me 3x. And then on the inside, I'm going to distribute that 3, so 3 times x is 3x. And 3 times 3 is 9. Let's move up over here. I'm going to consolidate my like terms there in the middle, so I still have that 2 sitting out in front. X squared plus 6x plus 9. And now I'm going to distribute my 2. So that would now say 2x squared plus 12x plus 18. Final answer. Okay, number 3, an 8 by 10 photograph. So here's my photo, 8 inches, 10 inches, surrounded by a frame like this that's W inches wide. And I want the area of this whole figure, okay? Which means I need to know the outside side lengths. I need to know these lengths here. Well, this one on the bottom, for example, I know that from here to here is 10. Okay, so I could cut this off from here to here. That's a 10. But then I have these 2 little tail pieces hanging out over here. Those are each going to have a width of W. So this is 10 and W and W. Similarly over here, I know from here to here would be 8, and then I would have a W and a W. So just be careful about how you combine those. I have a lot of people who want to jump immediately to doing W squared because you're thinking back to what we did up here. But to get this total length, I would add these pieces together. Okay, so this side length would actually be 10 plus 2W. And this side length would actually be 8 plus 2W. And so to get my area, I'm going to FOIL those together. 8 plus 2w times 10 plus 2w. So 8 times 10 is 80. 8 times 2w is 16w. 2w times 10 is 20w. And 2w times 2w is 4w squared. Combine my middle terms, and it would be 80 plus 16w. Oh, sorry. Lost track of what I was doing there. 16w and 20w together make 36w. I was going to combine those. And then plus my 4w squared. And that would be my total area. Okay. Number 4 is really similar. Take a quick second, see if you can figure out how to do number 4. Okay, number 4, 22 by 15 foot pool, 22, 15, surrounding it by a walkway with a width of W, just like before. I want the total area. So this side length down here, just like we talked about in the previous one, would be 22 plus a W on either side. And up the side, this would be 15 plus a W on either side. So to get my area, I'm going to multiply together. 22 plus 2W times 15 plus 2W. Let's see, 22 times 15. That's going to be 330, I believe. 22 times 2W is 44W. 2W times 15 is 30W. And 2W times 2W is 4W squared. Combine my like terms and I'm left with 330 plus 74W plus 4W squared. Final area. Okay, last two here. Convert to standard form. All the problems on this page really have a lot to do with FOIL and simplifying. That's what these are too. Standard form is the form of a quadratic. It's ax squared plus bx plus c. But really, to get there, you just simplify it. You make it look pretty. So I'm going to take this and do kind of the same stuff we've been doing all up above here. I'm going to simplify this. So I'm going to make this y plus 2 equals 3. I'm going to use the squaring because by order of operations I square first. So I'm going to say x minus 1 and x minus 1. I'm going to FOIL these together. So y plus 2 equals 3 times x squared minus 1x minus 1x. And negative 1 times negative 1 makes positive 1. Combine my like terms in there. So y plus 2 equals 3 times x squared. Be careful that you don't assume those are going to cancel out. Negative 1 minus 1 is negative 2, so negative 2x plus 1. Now I'm going to take my 3 out here because there's nothing else I can do in the parentheses, so now it's time to move out of the parentheses. I'm going to distribute the 3. I'm going to write over here what that's going to look like. So that'll say y plus 2 equals 3x squared minus 6x plus 3. And then the very last thing I have to do to get in standard form is I do have to get y by itself. So I'm going to subtract 2 and subtract 2. And I'll get y equals 3x squared minus 6x
DeBoer and Taylor
plus
Mika
1.
to the School to Career Office, please.
There's my standard
Rebecca
form.
DeBoer and Taylor Mika to the School
Last
to Career
one.
Office, please.
Same thing as what I did up here. I'm going to start by squaring. So y plus 1 equals negative x plus 3. Again, I'm not distributing that negative yet. FOIL first, or square first. I'm going to multiply these together. So x times x, whoops, write that down here. Getting ahead of myself. X squared, 3x, 3x, and 9. I'm going to consolidate my like terms. So y plus 1 equals negative x squared plus 6x plus 9. Now I'll distribute my negative sign. Y plus 1 equals negative x squared minus 6x minus 9. That negative goes to everything inside of the parentheses. And then the very last thing I would do is move this 1 over. So minus 1 minus 1. Final answer is going to look like this. Negative x squared minus 6x. And negative 9 minus 1 is negative 10. Okay. And we'll pick up the second page with the next video.